Hi, it's Vex, and today we continue our deck techs with another deck from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and this is, of course, our Signpost Commander for Shrines, Go-Shintai of Life's Origin. Now, of course, they had to make a Shrine Commander, right? Because this is our visit to Kamigawa. They printed 6 new shrines, including our Shrine Lord, Go-Shintai of Life's Origin. Let's actually read this. 3 and a green, legendary enchantment creature shrine. Now that's actually important. It's a legendary enchantment creature shrine. Shrine is not a creature type. Remember that, not a creature type. So engineered plague or plague engineer doesn't work on shrines. This is an enchantment type and only enchantment type. I know it's weird rules, quirk, but you know this is actually a typeless creature. It looks like a spirit, right? It should be a spirit, but they just ran out of room. Anyways, this is actually a 5-color commander because you want to support all 5-color shrines. So Wooburg, tap, return target enchantment card from a graveyard to the battlefield, so you can get your old shrines back that have died. So that could be very important later on. Then the important part right here is whenever Go-Shintai of Life's Origin or another non-token shrine, ETBs under your control, create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature token. Wow, that's pretty cool. So, unfortunately, the shrine enchantment creature token is about, at the time of this recording, $25. You wonder why? Because they forgot to print it in the set boosters in the United States. Set boosters that are printed in Japan with English language do have this token. I believe they'll fix it in the future. The token is very ridiculously priced, and in all my videos they say have your tokens. So we improvised. We made our own shrine token from the shrine from Kamigawa. Shrine token enchantment creature shrine. 1/1. So that's right. When you cast Go-Shintai of Life's Origin, you make a little shrine token. Unfortunately, it doesn't look as good as the cute little shrine token that should come with set boosters. They are set booster exclusive. Collector boosters don't have them either, so it's kind of weird. So I have my little token here. I will be purchasing a token once they are more reasonable, but right now they are completely unreasonable. However, let's get back to the deck tech here. We're talking about an enchantment deck with shrines. There are a total of 17 shrines, including our shrine commander. So 16 shrines in our deck. That is 16 slots already accounted for. Let's actually go right to it. Before then, I'm going to remind you, if you want to check out the deck list, I have it in the description below along with my TCG player affiliate link. I also have tokens for other things. And of course, I don't know what's going on with these tokens, but they short printed, or there's a token from Crimson Vow that I don't have. It's a spirit token, star. So I made an Infi token about it. So I recommend everybody buy these Infi tokens. They're really cool. All right, on to the show. First card I want to talk about is the 11th Shrine. I'm just numbering these for fun. The 11th Shrine printed in M21. This is definitely seeded for the new Kamigawa. Sanctum Evolved. This is a legendary enchantment shrine. It's not a creature, so it cannot be your commander, unlike Go-Shintai. Actually, the funny part is all these new shrines are all legendary enchantment creatures, which can be your commanders, which I don't think you want it, but can be. So this is like another, this is the only other Wooburg shrine. It's really cool. Has a shrine type, so will trigger Go-Shintai. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may search your library and or graveyard for a shrine card, put it in the battlefield, and if you search your library this way, shuffle, of course. If an ability of another shrine you control triggers, while you control 6 or more shrines, that ability triggers an additional time. So this also doesn't trigger itself twice because it says ability of another shrine you control, but the ability of Go-Shintai would trigger twice if you have 6 non-token shrines. So if you have these 2 out and 4 other shrines, Go-Shintai will trigger twice. It's just really cool. So this is a very important card in the deck. It helps you 2 up shrines, doubles your shrine triggers, and it's just all around amazing. So with that out of the way, we'll just talk about our original shrines from Kamigawa that everybody loves so much, playing in casual decks, 20 shrine casual decks, where you got 4 of each card. These are the original shrines, the Hondens. So we'll just go over these Hondens real quick. These are the ones that trigger at the beginning of your upkeep. So when you start your turn, the trigger goes on the stack. You can stack them either way, any way you want, and they increase in value the more shrines you have. So we have the white shrine. I'm just gonna call it by color because it's easier. The white Honden, At the beginning of your upkeep, gain 2 life for each shrine. So that's sweet. And then this, before when there's only 11 shrines, I did deck tech with this. Sisei was the commander, but now obviously you have Go-Shintai as your commander. it was pretty good, but now with even more shrines and little shrine tokens, this can get out of control really fast. So I think it's really cool. The blue shrine, draw a card for each shrine you control. Again, gets out of control. Honden of Night's Reach, the black shrine. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent discards a card for each shrine you control. This is not as good as the blue one because, eventually they won't have cards to discard. It is what it is, but it does target opponents, so you can target different opponents during your upkeep. If you have Sanctum of All, it triggers additional time, so you can target 2 opponents. This is insane right here. These two, insane. Honden of Infinite Rage. Now this does read, say, deal damage. At the beginning of your upkeep, Honden of Infinite Rage deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of shrines you control. It reads like that, but the Oracle text is any target. So you can just shoot at the face, shoot at planeswalkers, shoot at creatures. It's great. The other red shrines only do limited damage. Honden of Life's Web. You would think this adds mana, but being your upkeep, make a 1/1 color spirit token for each shrine. So that is really good. These are original Hondens here. Let's move these out of the way. For the next set of cards, the Sanctum. Now these have different triggering requirements, and some don't actually trigger. Some you just activate over and over again. Now we have, again, going through Wooburg order, the white Sanctum. And this does not trigger, so this doesn't get the Sanctum of All bonus here. But, when it ETBs, you do get the Go-Shintai bonus. And I would recommend, this is the cheapest shrine at one mana value, is that save this shrine, get Go-Shintai on the board, and play the shrine so you can make an additional shrine right away. Because unless you have other shrines out in the battlefield that you want to double up, this one you usually save. And just 5 and a white tap target creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each shrine you control. Most of the times 1 white tap a creature because you get tons of shrines in there. Now these Sanctums, I keep getting them all mixed up. There's Hondems, Sanctums, and Go-Shintais, and they're all shrines. This triggers at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. So essentially you draw your card, triggers, kind of like sagas. So they all trigger then. This is not as good as the original blue Honden. You may draw X cards or X number of shrines you control. And then if you do, discard a card. So if this is by itself, you draw a card, discard a card. But more shrines, you draw a card, discard a card. So you don't get all the cards. Here, this is forced draw. So be careful, don't deck yourself. This is a may draw. So this helps a little bit with decking. Sanctum of Stone Fangs, the black Sanctum. Essentially, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life for X number of shrines you control. So there's good drainage right there. And again, this is each opponent, not target opponent or target whatever, as in the Honden. This Honden of Night's Reach. Then you have the red Sanctum here, Sanctum of Shattered Heights. Discard land or a shrine card. So if you have extra shrine cards, I would not recommend discarding shrine cards because they're very important to the deck strategy. And it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, no player. So you can't do it to the face. X number of shrines you control. But you can do it over and over again, so you can keep discarding land cards. Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest. This is the one that adds mana, which is, I think this is a very, very powerful shrine. It adds X mana of any one color with X number of shrines you control, so this is very good to have. Of these Sanctums, I believe Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest is very good, and Calm Waters. This is good too, so you can get your end game going with all your extra shrines. So these Sanctums out of the way. Let's actually go to the new cards that just came out with Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, the Go-Shintais. Here, I guess Go-Shintai means shrine in Japanese or something. I don't know. I haven't researched that far. But you have the Wooburg again. These are all legendary enchantment creatures, so they can be killed with creature removal, enchantment removal. So they're a little more vulnerable than the other regular enchantment shrines. They are all legendary permanents. And then here, these all trigger at the beginning of the end step. So essentially, when you're done with the main phases, they trigger at the very end. The cool part is when you play these shrines, they'll trigger the same turn. Usually the other ones, the Sanctums and the Hondens, will trigger the next turn. But these will trigger same turn. And they all have the requirement of paying 1. So it's not like a free roll where they always trigger and then they always work. But you have to pay 1. If you do, make 1/1 tokens. 1 with spirits for each shrine you control. So this is kind of like the green Honden. But you got to pay 1. They all have keywords: Vigilance, Flying, Death Touch, First Strike, Trample. Then here is Milling. This shrine is a sucky one. I'm just be honest. This is the only one that does Milling. It might win you a game or two. Again, we just want the density of shrine counts to just make all the other ones better. So the blue Go-Shintai is not that great. This is really good. The black one is really good. It's just destroy target creature toughness X or X, where X is the number of shrines you control. Now that's really good. You pay the 1. Again, this ability will trigger twice with Sanctum of All, so you can just destroy a bunch of things. This is excellent. Here again, if you read closely, is that deals X damage to target player or planeswalker, so no creatures. So the other, I know it's very confusing. This one does creature or planeswalker. This one does player or planeswalker, and the other one does any target. So you got just make sure you know all your shrines and what they do. So Go-Shintai of Ancient Wars, Go-Shintai of Boundless Vigor, the green Go-Shintai. This one is not as good because, I mean, it does make your creatures bigger, but, when you pay that 1, put a +1/+1 counter, target shrine for each shrine you control. So it has to be a shrine creature, either these creatures, the Go-Shintai, or the tokens. So that's why it's not as good. You can't just put it on random creatures. So those are all our shrines, the Hondens, the Sanctums, Sanctum of All, and the Go-Shintais. All right, with that in mind, we are playing an Enchantress deck because they all are enchantments. Even our commander is an enchantment. We have tons of enchantments, so let's move on to the cool enchantment type cards. We are playing a lot of enchantments. These, our commanders make enchantment tokens, so these are our enchantresses. So what enchantress means is essentially you play enchantment, you cast enchantment, you draw a card. Now, there's different types of interesting triggers as such. These are cast triggers, or go through Enchantress. These are creatures here, 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 except for this one. They're all creatures except for this Enchantress's presence. But when you cast enchantment, draw a card. This one is, when you cast enchantment spell, you gain 1 life, draw a card, so you gain 1 life. Sith is also enchantment too, so it helps with your Enchantress. Mason Enchantress. This is interesting. This is when you cast an enchantment spell, you may draw a card, so you can decline the trigger. These you cannot decline the trigger. Again, be careful with decking yourself, because sometimes you might draw too many cards. It does happen with Enchantress decks that you draw too many cards. Same thing, cast enchantment, draw a card. These two are when enchantment ETBs draw a card, so they count with your shrine tokens. These don't count with your shrine tokens here and here, but anything with Constellation does count with your shrine tokens. These are not May abilities. Eidolon Blossoms will count itself, since that's enchantment, will just put a +1/+1 counter on itself and draw a card. And Enchantress's Presence, which I really like, is also enchantment. When you cast enchantment, draw a card. So a lot of card draw in this deck. These are creatures right here. This is enchantment. These are enchantment creatures. So you gotta just remember all your triggers and when they happen. Speaking of enchantments that do card draw, we have our bonus enchantment does card draw, Ristic Study. Of course, you can't deny it. Ristic Study is a May ability if you decide you draw too many cards, which I really like. Besides our shrines making tokens, we have other things that are very high synergy enchantment themes. This is Hallowed Haunting, brand new card from Crimson Vow. Let's have a little quick peek at this. 2 white, not blue. It looks blue because it's a picture. As long as you control 7 or more enchantments, which should be very easy with this deck. Creatures you control have Flying and Vigilance. That includes all your Go-Shintais, your little shrine token, all creatures. Not just token, all creatures. Then when you cast an enchantment spell, create a white Spirit Cleric creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of spirits you control. So they multiply here. This is the spirit token here. First one would be a 1/1. Next one would make all of them 2/2s and all of them 3/3s, etc. Hallowed Haunting starts off slow, but it gets out of control really fast. Sigil Empty Throne. This is a staple of all Enchantress decks. When you cast an enchantment, make a 4/4 angel. Archon of Sun's Grace. Right here, this is really cool too. Constellation enchantment ETBs. So this is cast. This is ETB. Create a white Pegasus token with flying, which is really cool because when say you have Archon of Sun's Grace on a battlefield, you play Go-Shintai. Go-Shintai will trigger itself, make a shrine token, make 2 Pegasus from the constellation of Archon of Sun's Grace. This doesn't make tokens, Destiny Smears, but it gets your lands, makes your lands really big, and makes your creatures and enchantment spells uncounterable, which is super cool. This creature itself is counterable, but when it's on the battlefield, your other stuff is not counterable. And then what it does is from, which I really like playing this card a lot, Theros Beyond Death. Target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature token with trample and haste until end turn, where X is the number of enchantments you control. It's still land, so you can just beat down. It does have trample, so it goes right through. So it's really good end game finisher. We are playing an enchantment type, so we need to protect and hold these protection spells for that situation of board wipes. Heroic Intervention, Teferi's Protection, right here. Fierce Guardianship is a counter that board wipe or enchantment board wipe. Now, in my play group, there are a lot of Enchantress players, so we have included a lot of enchantment hate. I don't include that in my deck text because, I include generic decks because, they apply to more player base. But we do tilt a little bit towards the enchantment removal because there's a lot of Enchantress decks. I recommend that you adjust to your metagame. If there's more enchantment decks that have more enchantment removal, yes, this deck is very vulnerable to that. That's why we have these cards here. Fierce Guardianship. Sterling Glove helps protect your other enchantments from getting targeted, and if they do target Sterling Grove, then you can sack it and tutor something to the top. Sphere of Safety is insane in Enchantress deck. Right here, you need to pay X for each creature attacking, where X is the number of enchantments you control. And my God, you have tons of enchantments. You make enchantment creatures. It's hard to attack you, so they definitely want to wipe this out before wiping any of your like commander or Go-Shintai, because they'll just never be able to attack. So that is our protection suite there. Of course, we have tutors, very little amount of them. Demonic tutor is the usual tutor. I just include this one tutor because it's just very powerful. Sisei, our old and sad commander of shrines. Now it's been replaced with Go-Shintai of Life's Origin. But Sisei is still good in the deck because it gets +1/+1 for each color among other legendary permanents you control. We have tons of legendary permanents and can search out these shrines because they're all legendary. So still good. Besides the removal on our shrines, we have generic spell removal. We have Doomwake Giant, which is the constellation. So these are the enchantment-based removal. We have Doomwake Giant, -1/-1 for each enchantment. ETB, very good. You play a lot of enchantment shrines. Again, you play Doomwake Giant. It gives everything -1/-1. Play Go-Shintai, -2/-2 for two items. So each shrine could be -2/-2 if you have Go-Shintai on the battlefield. That's good. Aura Shards, when a creature ETBs, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So that's also an enchantment itself. Can trigger Doomwake Giant or Enchantresses. We have just the good stuff, the 5-color good stuff removal. Here we have Swords Plowshare, Assassin's Trophy, Anguish Unmaking. Definitely very good, very flexible. Cyclonic Rift, you're playing blue, of course. I know it's great to have 5-color deck because all colors are represented, right? You got black, blue, white, green, you got red. It's all there. Now we have board wipes. This is a full devastating board wipe, Ruinous Ultimatum. We have a new card, Farewell. Here, choose one or more. Let's read this one because this is really cool. Exile all artifacts, creatures, enchantments, graveyards. You can choose one or more. I definitely do not recommend exiling all enchantments unless there is an emergency situation, which allows this card is so flexible, allows you that emergency situations. Also remember, it's an exile effect, so they don't get to put it in the graveyard. So this is an emergency situation. I'm trying this out. Sometimes you do want the destroy effect because you do have Go-Shintai's ability to get things back, but we'll see. Blasphemous Act, Toxic Deluge, these are definite staples. I wanted Vanquish the Horde, but this Farewell got replaced Vanquish the Horde because I wanted to give it a fair try. These are the removals. Utility cards using in enchantment decks. If you look down here, I don't play a lot of artifacts. And you know what? People complain about Dockside. This is the solution to Dockside right here. Stony Silence. Activate ability of artifacts can't be activated. This is a symmetrical effect. We do have a Soul Ring in the deck, but it'll shut off Soul Ring. But it is what it is. It's a little nombo, but it works great. Shuts off all treasures. Collector Oof. Same thing. Activate abilities of artifacts can't be activated. Put this in here. I think some people are just whiners about, getting their stuff shut down. But, if you rely on something like Graveyard, too many creatures, too many artifacts, we should be able to play these cards to shut them down. And then I don't have a problem if these are played against me and I'm playing an artifact deck because, I know that's the risk, right? Of playing an artifact deck. I get Vandal Blasted out of existence, which I've seen happen. People play an artifact deck, get Vandal Blasted. It sucks, but that's what you signed up for. Or if you play an Elf Ball deck, have all creatures and get Wrath of God, and then you're just like 2 cards in hand, you're just done for the rest of the game. It is what it is. That's why you diversify threats, diversify answers, and you make sure you got your bases covered. That's why I say always have Graveyard Hate. In this situation, we have Artifact Hate. You can destroy this, right? Enchantment removal will remove Stony Silence. Collector Oof, creature removal, which is plenty of, can destroy this. So I have these. Now, if you do, I don't include reserve list cards in my deck, but if you do want to include more hate cards, you can also include Karn or No Rod. No Rod's on the reserve list. But that's it for that. We have the other utility spells, Eerie Ultimatum. Return any number of permanent cards with different names. Of course, every card essentially from your graveyard to the battlefield, including lands. So that's just in case you get board wiped. So this is our situational emergency board wipe recovery. So that's why we have that there. Ballet recovery, very good. Usually our deck is base green. As you can see, our commander looks very green. So that's in every deck that has green. Weaver of Harmony, so this is a new card from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Let's have another look. It's really cool. Other enchantment creatures you control get +1/+1, including your little mini shrines that come out of Go-Shintai. And Go-Shintai itself. 1 and a green, enchantment creature, Snake Druid. Copy target, activated, or triggered ability you control from enchantment source. You may choose new targets for a copy. So you can, when you activate a shrine or trigger, when it triggers, you could just copy it. Essentially, you could copy the both sides of the Go-Shintai, which is super cool here with our Weaver of Harmony. We have the first part of our ramp package. As I mentioned, I do have one artifact, Soul Ring, but that's the only artifact because I'm playing Collector Oof and Stony Silence. I have enchantment discounters and Herald of the Pantheon, Starfield Mystic. I know there's one in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. I had the original deck list, but I took it out because these do much more than that one. And they're easier to cast in our 5-color deck because the other one was a white and a green. Now it's just colorless green, colorless white. And they have additional text here. This is when you cast enchantment, gain life. You know, sometimes you do start 40 life, but gain life is very important in Commander too. And then whenever enchantment you control is put in a graveyard from the battlefield, you know, put +1/+1 counter on Starfield Mystic, so it can get bigger. Sanctum Weaver generates an insane amount of mana. Only costs 2 mana. At X mana of any one color, where X is the number of enchantments you control, does get out of control very fast. Bloom Tender, you know, for each color among permanents, add a mana, so it can add up to 5 mana. Again, a 2 mana value, very, very good. This is where I heavily deviate from most Enchantress's decks. Usually they use enchantment-based ramp. I do have a little Smothering Tide because that's enchantment-based ramp. Of course, it's Smothering Tide, you can't say no to that. It does create artifacts. Again, we're willing to have that anti-synergy with our shrines. Not our shrines, with Collector Oof and Stony Silence. But Smothering Tide is just so good, I had to include it, basically. So instead of more enchantment type ramp, which is very vulnerable to enchantment board wipes, which I've seen a lot. If you do enchantment ramp and the enchantment board wipe you, it just undid all your ramp, and it's just very devastating. So we want just a more stable version of ramp. Like this will include Farseek, Nature's Lore, 3 visits. Those get you forced, basically non-basic land types like Triumphs and stuff. Cultivate Kadama's Reach, get you regular lands. Omen of the Hunt, when it ETBs, you get a basic land put on the battlefield. That's why we want land-based ramp, and we have Smothering Tithe. Taking a quick look at our mana base, we have our Rainbow Lands, Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Mare Confluence, very good. World Tree, I consider a Rainbow Land because by the time it's, you know, you have it there, you just tap everything for everything else. World Tree is an ultra staple in 5-color decks. It's just so good. They just, I don't know how they keep printing these ultra staples. They do. So World Tree is very good. All 5 Triumphs. I'm not sure if new Companion will add the other 5 Triumphs, but all 5 Triumphs here. We have our Fetchland Suite. Now, if you notice, this deck is very heavily base green, like this, and base white for Enchantress. So we essentially include all of the white and green fetch lands, not all 10, but just 7 of them. 7 white and green dual lands. Right there, if it has white or green in it, we have it there because it can be fetched. We have Sunpale Grove, you know, white-green land. Selesnya land, I should say, right there. Rounding up the mana base, we have utility lands, Bejugal Bog, Graveyard Hate. It's always important to have at least something do Graveyard Hate. Yavimaya, we are a very heavy green deck as well. Bisheju, who endures. I consider it a spell, but it is in the land slot. It is legendary, and then you could just destroy things. Let's actually read it. It's very, very good. You should all know what it is, but if you don't, let's just read it anyways. Channel 1 in a green, discard Bisheju, who endures. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land and opponent controls. That's cool. That player may search the library for a land card with basic land types, even Triumphs, Shock Lands, Original Duels, basic lands, so all that, anything with a basic land type. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. We do have legendary creatures, so it could cost 1 green or 1 in green. It doesn't matter. It's very cheap. Destroys things, cannot be countered because this is an ability, not a spell. Hall of Heliod's Generosity. Put the enchantment cards from your graveyard on top of your deck just in case things die. You want to get it back. We are playing a 5-color deck with lots of different lands. Field of the Dead is just there as another way to win just in case you get a devastating board wipe. field lands there. We have our basic lands from Kamigawa. They look amazing right here. These are the full art Japanese kanji lands. That is the deck. This deck is very fun. You got to keep track of all your triggers when they trigger, because they trigger all at different times. But, you know, it's the fun of it. You get to like, oh, I'll trigger these during upkeep, trigger these during my first pre-combat main phase, trigger these during my end phase. Get extra triggers from Sanctum of all this fun stuff. Sanctum of All can tutor out a during the upkeep. Well, Sanctum of All is right there. On the upkeep, tutor something like another Sanctum that triggers on pre-combat main phase right away, or a Go-Shintai. If you tutor out Honda, then you have to wait one full turn cycle for it to trigger. But that's how it works. All right, we're gonna shuffle this deck up and do gold fishing. But before then, a reminder that the deck list, TCG Player, and Channel Fireball affiliate links are in the description below. I have tons of cool stuff in the description. Just check out the description. It's always fun to check it out. But if you enjoyed this video so far, give the video a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be alerted for new videos when they occur. And then I'm going to shuffle this deck up, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back. Turn 1, and don't forget to have a shrine counter, because it's annoying to recount shrines all the time. Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, see what we get. Some lands. Okay, we have the cheap shrine here, which we will not play turn 1 because we have tap lands that we could play. We do have a rainbow land, which is great, and a beautiful swamp. I think this is everybody's favorite picture I've heard. Okay, what we'll do is we'll take our first turn here, draw a card. Ooh, another Sanctum. That's sweet. We will put our Zagoth Triumph in tapped right there. Then we'll pass. Draw a card here. Oh, Enchantress. Let's see. Well, we couldn't have played any of these cards, so that would have been great. We could have played Godless Shrine tapped if we got something crappy, but what we'll do is we'll just put in our swamp, not take any damage. Yet, this does produce green. Make our Enchantress. That's great. Turn 3. Right here. We'll draw a card. We do have an Enchantress. We do have some lands, so what we can do is we can't play 2 spells at once. What we could do is do some Rampy with Omen of the Hunt. Right there. We'll just play our, we'll shock in a land, which we'll be shocking in lots of lands. Here, a Hollowed Fountain. Right there. I believe we got all colors except for red, so this one will produce red if we need to, but we'll do that. We do like our green mana, since we don't have any green mana dual lands. We'll just do Omen of the Hunt right there. ETB cast trigger, Enchantress. More Sanctums. Okay, we got tons of Sanctums. And then we'll just get a basic land, put into the battlefield tap. We will get a Forest, since that's our favorite basic land to get right there. Shuffle up our deck here and pass. So we did ramp a little bit. We did an enchantment. We got an extra card from our Grothian Enchantress. That is one of the cheaper Enchantress's effects, by the way. I think most of them are 3 mana, but this is a 2 mana one. This is also a 3 mana one, 2 mana one, so that's good there. All right, turn 4. Draw a random card here. Farseek, more rampy. All right, so let's consider options. We could play Go-Shintai right there, and then instantly play our Sanctum of Tranquil Light, make some shrines, get some things going. Let's see what we want to do. Or we can just start with our Honden here, or draw some cards. So I think what we want to do is probably do some ramping and then play a Honden right there. Well, we can't play Honden because we don't have 5 mana. Do we? We do have 5 mana. We didn't play our land yet. Almost forgot. All right, let's just shock in this Godless Shrine here. So we'll play our Honden of Infinite Rage and a Farseek. So we're going to keep ramping here. And remember, let's do Farseek first, so we don't draw the Triumph that we're probably going to ramp into. Let's get a Triumph here. It's easy because they're all 4-art Triumphs. So let's get the one that produces green and white, the Indaltha Triumph, I believe. Right there. We'll just ramp there. That's great. And then, Take backs. I'm gonna play our Mana Confluence instead of shocking in Godless Shrine to produce red, because technically we can't produce red unless it's a Mana Confluence. Hopefully your play group is very forgiving and lets you do that take back after you do the Farseek. but you did have a land in hand, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, mana is important when you play a 5-color deck. You gotta make sure you are tapping the correct lands. So, Honda of Infinite Rage, we will count our shrines here as 1 cast trigger. Bam. And our Garthian Enchantress is hard to kill because it has Shroud. Then we pass the turn. Turn 5. I forgot to mention in the beginning of the deck, this deck is really slow, obviously, because you want to keep building more and more shrines over turns and accumulate value. But once it gets going, it gets very explosive. All right, draw a card for turn. There's a Go-Shintai of Boundless Vigor. That gives lots of... no, this one doesn't give mana. I know, I always get confused, but makes your dudes bigger. And it costs 2, so now I have very cheap shrines. What we could do is shock in our Godless Shrine. Make sure we have all our mana situated here. Save this for last. We will cast our commander, of course. Let's do that. Cast our commander, Go-Shintai of Life's Origin. This does trigger, make a shrine token, so now you have 3 shrines. Woohoo! Right? When it or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield, under your control, create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature token. Yes. Now we want to go off. Now we want to play these. This one triggers at the end of turn, so definitely right here, we'll just pay 1 white. We'll do Sanctum. Let's just see here. We'll just put this Enchantress over here. We have our shrines. Let's just throw our non-important permanents over here. We'll cast this. We'll draw a card. We'll make a shrine. Now our shrine count is now 5. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have our little dudes here. Let's just make space here. I know there's a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, now I have that. We gotta tap our 2. We'll play Go-Shintai of Boundless Vigor. That is a creature, so we'll kind of keep in the creature section. Trigger, 3, and then cast trigger. Draw a card. That's great. Now we have 7 shrines. Need another dice. See how this gets out of hand pretty quickly here. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Then we're like, okay, we'll pass turn. At the beginning of your end step, you may play 1, which we do not have 1, so we won't pay 1, and we won't make things bigger. That's okay. We'll pass. Turn 6, before we draw, what's going to happen is Shrine Honda of Infinite Rage is going to deal 7 damage to any target. You know, whatever we want to zap, we will zap it. And we'll have fun zapping it. Boom. Now we draw a card. Bloom Tender. This one's an activated ability, so it won't activate. Now we can play more shrines. We'll play our Misty Rainforest here. Then if you have extra mana, you can always use Omen in the Hunt to scry 2. But we have tons of things to do. Now we'll just tap our mana here. We'll play another Sanctum of Stone Fangs. Every time you play a shrine, you get 2 more. Obviously, we just make more little shrine creature tokens. Perfect. We'll draw a card from the Enchantress Island. We'll play another shrine. Why not? We just love playing shrines. All right, we'll just tap all this here. We'll play a Sanctum of Calm Waters. Here we have now 11 total shrines. Make one of these, draw a card. Another fetch land. Okay, so we're doing it. We're doing very well. We could play Bloom Tender, make more mana next turn, but I think we have tons of land right now. So what we're gonna do is let Go-Shintai trigger. We will sack this for a forest. Why not? Nah, we'll just pay the 1 here. We'll sack this at the end of turn, get another Triome. We love our Triomes. We love our colored mana. It's just very important in this deck, actually. We'll just get this Savai Triome. It's a red Triome. We'll get that one right there. I think the Rugen Triome is technically a little better, so we'll just get that one because that has the red there. Actually, no, the other one, the Ketra Triome. Gosh, I forgot all the names. This one's a little bit better because it's got red and green. There we go. I'm back. shuffle up this deck here. You have 11 shrines. So we'll do is pass the turn. We'll pay the 1. Put 11 +1/+1 counters on our commander boss dude. Sometimes you want to do commander damage. Boom. Right there, we pay the 1 +1/+1 counter for each shrine you control. 11. So boom, now you can kill some of the commander damage. Pass the turn. Let's do one more turn for fun. Let's see what these shrines do when they trigger. Okay, pass the turn. Okay, so upkeep before you draw. Here, Honda of Infinite Rage, 11 damage somewhere. You can always pay 1 white to tap things down. It's not the great one. Then you would draw, right? Boom, World Tree. That's super good. Then what's going to happen is you have Sanctum Stone Fangs and Calm Waters, which you can stack any way you want. Let's do this. Each opponent loses X life and gain X, and you gain X life, where X is the number of shrines you control. That's 11. So bam, that's a 44-point life swing. Then you draw X cards and discard a card. So I will draw 11 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you see how these shrines stack up amazingly with your commander. Now you always want to look for the Go-Shintais at this point because they trigger at the end of turn. We didn't get any. Collector Oof is good. Shut this down. Gain some insane amount of life with this one. Change his presence. Do more. Cast this. Let's play the World Tree so we just tap our mana so we don't even care anymore. Do this. Get a cast trigger on Enchantress. Get our land. Play this Hondan. We could wipe the board, but we would wipe our own shrines. Actually, this would be bigger than Blasphemous Act, so you would keep your Go-Shintai of Life's Origin there too. Keep the Fairy's Protection, Fierce Guardianship, Sanctum Weaver for insane amount of mana. So this is pretty cool. Look at my hand right here. That's pretty neat, huh? Bam. Anyways, this deck is super grindy, but man, once it takes off, it takes off like a rocket ship. So before I go, hope you enjoyed the goldfishing. Hope you enjoyed the deck tech. If you did, I have the deck list and TCG player for Kamigawa Fireball affiliate links in the description below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, smash subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be alerted for new videos in the future. And I definitely advise you to build this deck. Don't buy this token, too expensive. It'll come out, it'll be super cheap, it'll be like 50 cents. Hopefully. If it's not, it'll probably be like $5. Don't buy this token, do what I did. I know it's the same one, the same card this one is, but it's just Shrine token. It looks kind of Jahit's ghetto, right? But it works. Anyways, hope you enjoy the video, and as always, have a wonderful day.